made them earls, tried to tame them and tried to conquer them. The final chapter in the end of the millennia-long history was when the last O'Neill and the last O'Donnell got on a ship in Lough Swilly on the 24th of September 1607 and left Ireland forever. So the Flight of the Earls is a landmark in Ireland, and we've been sort of doing the O'Neills. That's one of the reasons why we did Shane O'Neill, and then that's one of the reasons I chose Niall of the Nine Hostages, so that when we do in September do the Flight of the Earls, people will better understand what the significance of it was, that the descendants of Niall of the Nine Hostages left Ireland for good, and they have re-emerged in Spain and in the Netherlands, the Spanish Netherlands, in many ways, and they still distinguish themselves around the world. The progeny of Niall. Now, of course, it goes back prior to that, but nevertheless, he's the one that sort of whose name has come down. It didn't all begin with him, as you know, his father and many generations prior to that. But that's why I chose Niall of the Nine Hostages for this week or this month, because it is important to know that there was thousands of years, not hundreds, thousands of years of kingships. And Richard, you mentioned earlier about, well, what was a king? It wasn't like the King of England, which is the king of one great big kingdom, or the king of whatever, Germany. Nor was it in Germany or in Italy. There weren't kings of that. That's not the kind of kings there were until much later into medieval times.
There may have been one great king, but there were hundreds of lesser kings.
Correct, correct. Which is really exactly right. There was a head king. Now in your world it was Khan, right? Khan is the word. So Genghis Khan. So Khan is the Farsi. Pardon?
Farsi as Shah, actually.
The Shah, is it?
We use that dialect too.
Okay.
The name for king in Farsi would be Shah.
Okay, Shah. Oh, that's right. Of course. So that's the Shah.
The king was Shah and Shah.
Oh, the King of Kings, the Shah and Shah. Yeah, that's Persian.
Shah and Shah.
And so the Khan. Okay, Khan was for the north.
For
Mongolian. That's correct. Yeah. And Afghan. Yeah, but they had come in from the Mongolian, from the steppes. Yeah, yeah. That's right. So that's why the word Khan is so common in that whole area. The word Khan appears in a lot of place names
and in Arabic culture they have Khalifa.
Oh yes, that's where the word California comes from.
Khalifa, yeah.
Serious?
Really?
Yeah.
Khalifa.
Yeah.
Is it lies we're telling?
You have to be careful now, all right?
You want to hear a good one?
Oh no.
Better be more telling.
I got kept really good in our last language class 6 months ago. No, November. I had him 95% convinced before she busted that everything in the world originated Irish, of course, obviously.
So?
But even Nabisco.
Nabisco.
Nabisky.
Of course.
So the word for cookie in Irish, or the cookies, Nabisky, and the big company Nabisco. I had him going so good, I had the hooks so deep, and she cut him loose.
But you were right. Why did you tell him wrong?
Is it lies we're telling?
Is it lies we're telling? Well, my favorite is Viagra, which is Via Gras, the food of life. That's exactly what it is.
Is that why you're wearing blue
Huh?
today?
Pardon?
Is that why you're wearing blue today?
No.
That way.
No.
It's a white shirt, he overdosed.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
You're in trouble, Margaret.
where are we now?
Well,
Yeah,
California.
We got 2 minutes left.
2 minutes left. I like to take questions, so if anybody has any questions, please.
The Collis princes, were they nephews of Niall or uncles or do you know, or sons? I mean, it's very confusing if they were Owen and what was the other one, Connell or Colum?
I think they were nephews. I'm not. Yeah, I think they were nephews. He
And
talks
then-
about them a lot here.
And then they destroyed, that was from my original question, they destroyed, how do you pronounce it?
Aonwaka?
Yeah,
Hmm.
Aonwaka,
Yeah, that.
which is right.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of the great events in Irish history. Actually, the destruction of Aonwaka. Yeah.
Right.
There's so much
But see,
associated with him.
That seems like it would have had to happen before Niall, which would make them his uncles, not his nephews, so I don't know.
They're dating to about the 300s, but I think that's legend. I don't know.
Oh, really?
You're right. The three Colas slew Ocha Mugadon. They actually slew his father.
They were what?
The three Colas.
I didn't hear what you said.
They killed Niall's father.
Right, okay. That's-
Yeah.
Okay.
And for some time, Cola Ush reigned as king. Later, when Niall had won the kingship, he pardoned the Colas and sent them to win Swordland for themselves at the expense of Ulla. I have little doubt that this version is the earlier one and that it is nearer historical truth insofar as it represents the conquest of Ulster as having taken place during the reign of Niall and as having been instigated by him. In a narrower sense, that's one of his great efforts or great achievements in Ireland, was to actually conquer and unite Ulster to the Kingdom of Tara. In the long sustained efforts of the men of Tara to bring the northern province into subjugation, the only power with which they had to contend was, so far as we can judge, that of Ulla. So that Ulster was sort of an independent entity for a very long time. In fact, until Niall's time. So that's why he is credited with the really great achievement of uniting Ireland. Once the Ulla is Ulaid, and that's the old ancient word for it. And as you know, a lot of things in Norman, the Normans brought in the word stir, which means a place. So you have Westminster, Winchester. The stir is part of the name. So Ulster is where the word Ulster. It's Ulla, Ulster. Hey, oh man, what the heck! And the long-sustaining efforts of the men of Ulster to bring the northern part of the, which they had to continue. Once the Ulla were overthrown and their capital razed, there was no longer any serious obstacle to completing the conquest of the province. That's why Aonwaka was so important, the destruction of Aonwaka. It represented the end of Ulster as a separate...
And then it became incorporated,
yes.
so to speak, into...
Yes. We know that 3 of the sons of Niall made conquest in northwest Ulster, almost certainly within the lifetime of their father, and it is natural to suppose they'd be Owen and Connell. And this was immediate consequences of the destruction of the Illydian power by the 3 Colas, who, according to one tradition, were contemporaries of Niall. As the warfare against the Ulla was organised by the kings of Tara, it is impossible to believe that the 3 sons of Niall had not as prominent a part in the campaign in which Owen was destroyed as they shortly afterwards had in the conquest of the northwest. The conclusion is inevitable. The 3 brothers, known as the 3 Colas, were none other than Owen, Connell and Enda. 3 of the sons of Niall. So it's hard to get it all worked out. Yes, sir.
Are the modern names of O'Connell, Connolly?
No, as I said earlier,
are they all the same? I've heard of derivations of
well, Owen is a very, very ancient Irish name, and so is Connell.
Connell, O'Connell.
Yeah, but now
Connolly.
Connell. Yeah,
Are they all from the same group of people?
They would, but now the O'Connells of Kerry that you're descended from probably were connected to the Connells of Tyrconnell in the north. But then again, it's hard to say because, see, Connell was a fairly common name throughout Ireland. You know, the fact that Niall called one of his sons Connell doesn't mean that was the first time anybody in Ireland been called Connell, you know. Now, he became very famous and he had a territory which was known as Tír Connell, which is Donegal. But it doesn't necessarily suggest that there's any connection between that and the O'Connells or the Connells of the southwest. Probably not.
Probably not, from what I've heard.
Probably not. No, they wouldn't be connected because Connell was, as I said, a very ancient Irish name. So was Owen. So they are important simply because two of Niall's sons happen to be called up, and that's why the Tyrone, which is west of the Bann. The Bann River runs into Lough Neagh and out again.